Good morning, everyone. My name is Jon Udell. I'm the Communications Director of Arizona NORML. And today I have with me Bridget Chiovari, a Tucson local who is a small business owner, a photographer, and a medical marijuana patient. So to start things off here, I'm going to give Bridget an opportunity to tell her story about what brought her into medical marijuana.
I got brought into medical marijuana. It was actually a short time ago. I want to say 6 months ago. I was having a lot of issues with nausea and dizziness, a bunch of different issues with brain stuff. And I actually have one friend who recommended it to me, and she just it was so weird because I actually didn't talk to her about it a lot. And I kind of went on a whim to like go and get my medical marijuana card. And I'm so glad that it did. It helps with so many other issues that I did not even expect it to help out with. And this whole journey's been so beneficial for me, and I'm excited about it.
That's awesome. And yeah, I'll say not so different from my personal story about, I guess it was about 5 years ago, I was in law school and came down with Crohn's disease and was kind of skeptical about how much medical marijuana would help me, and got a card and was totally blown away with how helpful it really was. So I know you have like a pretty dramatic story about how you discovered your condition that led you to medical marijuana. It started with a hike, right?
Yeah, so I was out hiking. I was very active at the time. I was very healthy. I had an 18-month-old daughter at the time, and I was with my second child. And we went out for a hike, and I had my daughter in the hiking carrier that I would carry her on my back in. And I suddenly felt like a pop go off in my head, and it was followed by a whole bunch of dizziness. My mouth got incredibly dry. I felt like I couldn't stand up anymore. And then I got the worst headache of my life. And it turned out that I was having a hemorrhagic stroke due to a ruptured AVM, which is a tangle of blood vessels in your brain that you are born with, but we had no idea that I had it in my brain until it ruptured during
Mhm.
the.
That is incredible. I love all the advocacy work that you do too. I know you've been on like a lot of local news programs talking about your story and trying to bring some attention to AVMs and everyone else's experience with them. And I think it's just incredible that the way you've been able to recover from that. And I know it's kind of like an ongoing process, and medical marijuana has played a role. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that have been helpful for you too. Um, and from that, you recovered, and you now have a photography business down in Tucson, right?
Yes, I do. Photography actually stems from the stroke itself. Right after I got in the hospital, I realized that my brain was no longer collecting memories like I was used to. And I
Hmm.
so desperately wanted to take pictures of my kids just to remember those moments of them growing up. And so I just clung on to photography and took pictures every second because I didn't want to forget anything.
That's amazing, and I've seen a lot of your work, and it is excellent. So yeah, really, to me, it's an incredible story, an incredible spotlight on medical marijuana and trying to blow up some of those myths around marijuana use. People think that they have these stereotypes that you consume medical marijuana and you're just a stoner sitting around on your couch, but here you are using it medically, and not only do you have a photography business, you're raising kids on the side. Probably shouldn't say on the side, probably more of a central part of your life. Truly an incredible story. And from what I understand, you plan to vote yes on Prop 207 this coming November. And
Yes.
what's your number one reason for your position on that?
I think that it needs to be legalized all around. Like you said, before I personally started using it, I was that judgmental person that was like, moms don't get stoned, moms don't smoke weed, and I was that person, and I thought that about other people. And then when I realized it what an eye opener it was for me to like start using, not that I looked down upon it, but I definitely thought that marijuana and motherhood did not mix. Like that's not allowed. That's not okay. And so it needs to be legalized so that the stigma around it is gone. That needs to be gone because this can help so many more people. And I can't even imagine if I'm an open-minded person. And even I was paranoid to start, even though it's legal with my card, I was still paranoid, and I'm still paranoid about it. Like my kids are my number one, and it's anything to get at least helpful with
Yeah,
that.
I agree 100%. And one big thing that we have been doing at Arizona NORML to try to help with the Prop 207 effort is a lot of phone banking. And our phone banking calls tend to get directed towards elderly individuals who in the past have shared a lot of those beliefs that you were describing there. And still, some of them kind of have that stigma, but it's really been pretty eye-opening to see how so many minds have been changing in the 1 decade since we started our medical marijuana program out here in Arizona. And I think that's a big part of why we see changing public support for Prop 207 is there's a lot of these conversations that have been going on all over the state of Arizona. I spoke with one family yesterday who seemed to have some neighbors that share a lot of our beliefs here at Arizona NORML, and they're like, I can't vote no on Prop 207. My neighbor's going to kill me. And, it's probably one of these elderly communities, out in Sun City. And people are seeing that, like, folks like them also rely on medical marijuana, and they're just normal people. Another person I spoke with was going into a long conversation with her. She told me about a long conversation with her son where they had spoken the night before about Prop 207 and about the stigma around medical marijuana. And that conversation changed their minds. So it's, I think, a really positive development that we've seen that there's been a lot of conversations all over the state, and a lot of people who've shared that the mindset that leads to that stigma have finally, I think, started to open their eyes and really see marijuana for what it is, which is a substance that helps a lot of people with medical conditions and is no more dangerous than alcohol, which they see people consume all the time. So that's those are always really heartwarming conversations for us to know that people's minds are changing. They're not all set in stone. If we go out there and we tell them the right stories and share information with them, they'll come to a sensible belief and hopefully help us end the stigma with a yes vote on Prop 207. And again, that's less than 10 days away. We are 9 days away now from the election. Thank the Lord.
Right.
So, thank you so much for your time today, for joining me and sharing your story. Thank you for all the great work that you do for advocacy for AVM. And I'll keep posted for your continuing photography, for continuing ventures. So
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. I love these conversations because, like you were saying, it's so important to bring awareness around this and end the stigma. And that's exactly what these conversations are doing. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bridget. And these conversations will continue after the election. We are just getting started with our work. So thank you again for your time this morning, and thank you to all of our viewers. And with that, I'll let you head off and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.